This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Privileged to be joined today by Dave Harris of the Ringside Charitable Trust. How are you, Dave?
Hi, Rob. I'm okay, thank you.
Good, nice to hear. Just give people a little bit of a backstory as to, I will let you explain it, but we've been speaking for probably a number of months now, probably pre-COVID or around that sort of time, about a very worthwhile initiative that you've been working on for the last couple of years. Why don't you give our viewers just a little bit of an insight as to what we've been talking about and what we're going to be talking about today?
Right. Rob, when I set up the British Boxing Hall of Fame, the one thing that shocked me early on in our dealings with many boxers that were in their 50s, 60s, 70s, that how many of them were in a poor state of health. There was some that had mental illness, the various forms of mental illness. As you know, there's many forms. Some with alcohol-related disease, and some of them just very lonely. And it was sad to see how there were some. I'll give you an example. You've got Johnny Clark, the former British, undefeated British and European bantamweight champion, that is in a home, but it's in a home where nobody knows how famous that man was in the world of boxing. And it's really sad when you go and visit him, where his face lights up when you start to talk about his boxing career, and it saddens me when we leave him that all of a sudden the light goes back out. And I've seen this, and I've seen it not only with John but with many others, and I've heard stories. Bunny Sterling was, his daughter tried to get him into over 40 homes in the London area, and no one would take him. And why? Because he was a former professional boxer, and they thought he was going to be violent. Now, Bunny wasn't a violent man. Although he suffered with dementia, he was quite a gentle character, and yet none of them would touch him. And the sad thing is, when his daughter showed me a picture 1 month before he died, where he had actually torn the hair out of his head in frustration and anger, because he didn't feel that people understood him. He was in a lonely world, and it was so sad. But there are so many of these boxers, Rob, that need our support, and we need to get a home going where there is going to be a cinema room, a non-alcoholic bar, a hairdresser's where people can get their hair cut, even if it's only open 1 day a week. We will have that facility available. We want to give all our ex-boxers a social and a caring environment. Now, we can do it. Now, it should have happened in the days of Solomons and Levine. And I guess I'm making a plea now to the big promoters, the elite boxers who are earning the £1 million plus a year. Well, we don't want your money. We want your taxable income, tax deductible, that you can give us to help us open this home. And we could do it. If you all got behind us now, this home could open in 6 months' time. But we will keep working, and hopefully the promoters, the elite boxers, will stand with us shoulder to shoulder. And just looking at the ordinary boxing fan in the street, Rob, you've got people that have run marathons. Ian Cowley ran 2 marathons for us, the Manchester Marathon, the Liverpool Marathon. We've had Brian from Brighton Boxing Club with his wife Janie Brazil, who was one of the first women ABA champions. He allowed himself to be punched with a body bag to anybody that wanted to get in the ring with him. And when you consider some really good boxers down in Brighton and Hove, like Scott Welsh. Well, I wouldn't want to get hit by Scott Welsh, but he was there and he took sponsorship to take punches for 101 rounds and raised a great deal of money for our trust. We've got boxers from Portsmouth, professional boxers from Portsmouth, skydive from 3 miles up, and they raise money for us. We've had people walk across London rooftops to raise money for us. We've had children, young boxers between 7 and 12 years of age, who have gone on the beaches, picked up the plastics and the rubbish, and raised over £300 for us. You know, okay, there's some people, there's an old age pensioner that has been sending £5 a week for month after month in support of what we are trying to do. Boxing News has been brilliant. Matt Christie understands the high risk that boxers are taking every time they enter the ring. And as you said when we were speaking earlier, they're for the grace of God go all boxers, because one punch can change their life forever. And we've got many boxers. There are 40 that need residential care right this very moment. There are many others who need respite care, and we want to provide that too. We want to provide rooms where their families can come and visit. We want to make this a world leader, and we can do it, but we can only do it if everybody, excuse me, stands shoulder to shoulder. And that includes the promoters, the board, the everyman in the street. Everybody, if we stick with this, and I have to say, the support has been brilliant. When you think people have climbed Mont Blanc, as I've said, jumping out of planes. There's so many things. Martin Hooker, a former amateur boxer, now in his late 60s, done 15 3-minute rounds of shadow boxing. And he's not even been a well man, but he done it because he wants to help. And there are so many others. I know I'm leaving lots of people out. I'll just have a quick look at my paper that I've written things down, if that's all right with you.
That's fine.
Oh, one of the important things, and one that had the most emotional effect on me, was when Vince Heckman, former boxing promoter in the 80s, with in partnership with Maloney and I'm trying to think of the other guy, it doesn't matter. He walked from Eastbourne Pier to Hastings Pier, 17.5 miles, and he is suffering from a brain tumour, and he is terminally ill, and he is now in not a very good position. But he gave his all, and he would not do 1 foot less. He walked from one pier to the other, and he believed that all promoters should get behind this. And it was lovely to see. Michael Watson came at the end, and so did Mark Galt. Both have been severely physically and mentally damaged through boxing, but they crossed the line with him, and they love boxing, and they wouldn't wish it any other way. They knew the risk they were taking, but they were there. And the emotion that day, there were people the other side of the line when they crossed the line, and I think you may have pictures of it, actually standing openly crying. So that's the effect that was had that day, and it's happened many times. 80 and 90-year-olds have walked, the ex-boxers from walked from Southend Pier, Tommy Berlin and Ray Lee set it all up. There must have been 100 ex-boxers, all with the Ringside Wrestling Care t-shirts on, and they looked a magnificent sight. So the support has been great. We've sold T-shirts. We've had people like worldwide signing, Andy Brace, Mark Gray's Mark from Ireland. They've raised considerable amounts of money by auctioning and selling the T-shirts in Andy's shop. And it's just been ongoing slog. There are a team of trustees, and we also have our ambassadors, and our ambassadors, and I haven't got the list in front of me, there's so many, but there is the ones that have been outstanding. John H. Stracey. Johnny Stracey has been absolutely brilliant. He's been singing and giving the money to Ringside Charitable Trust. John Conti has always been 100% behind what we're doing and is a great role model. Who else have we got? A man that hopefully will go into we've put his name forward for the International Hall of Fame, Duke Mackenzie. Johnny Nelson said he would be an ambassador. So gradually, and there's more and more boxers. Jimmy Batten, he's also raised lots of money. So there's a lot of ex-boxers, and I've not mentioned them all, and I'm sorry for those that I've missed out, but I know we're time limited, and I guess people don't want to listen to me forever, but that's where we're at, Rob.
Well, first of all, don't be so modest. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would love to hear more about Ringside Charitable Trust. It all sounds like exactly what boxing needs, obviously alongside several other things, but what we said off camera before we started about Ringside Charitable Trust taking the steps to protect boxers and the aftercare of fighters, which is something that has been neglected for too long in the sport. Where are we currently with the Ringside Charitable Trust? How much money do you need to raise? How far off are you? Just give us an insight as to where we are now and what we can do to move forward.
When we had our initial meeting, and a meeting I had afterwards with, and I won't mention their names, but they're both two very influential business people. And when I say very influential, I mean very influential, that have been boxing supporters all their lives. One of them reached a light heavyweight ABA final back in the 60s, and that might give some people, oh, yeah, I know who that is. But they've been so supportive. But what they've said is, look, just do your best. Now, we've been out, our first year, we've raised over £50,000. And that's just basically by, as I said, the young people picking up plastics, amateur boxing clubs supporting us, giving donations. One amateur club gave a 4-figure sum. Absolutely unbelievable, but they've done it. As I said, the boxers, everybody's doing their bit, but it's not really important. The big money, we're also going to go for lottery funding, but I have an idea, which I can't speak about too much now, but I want to be meeting with the British Boxing Board of Control in the fairly near future to outline how we can work together to ensure that this home becomes reality for our boxers who are in such desperate need. As I said, when you think about people like Bunny Sterling, what a wonderful boxer, won a British European title, middleweight title, and yet his poor daughter was having to run round trying to find just somewhere to take him on board, because with dementia, he obviously would walk out of places and get lost. Johnny Clark's the same, and Natalie, his daughter, has been so supportive of what we're doing. And it's just lovely to have all these people on board. But it's the trustees that work tirelessly. Paul Fairweather, our treasurer, does way beyond what any treasurer should be doing. Karen Knight, our secretary, absolutely a diamond. You couldn't wish for a better person that does everything asked of her. Johnny Oliver, you know, former trainer of Anthony Joshua when he was in the amateurs years ago, or one of the helping trainers. John is a trustee, and he keeps, part of his role is that anybody that comes under the need for help, he makes sure that we are informed that we've got another boxer that slipped through the net. And if I was to tell you some of the names of boxers, many of them have been world champions that are desperately in need of help now, you would be amazed, probably shocked as I've been. So it's not how much we raise, because it's what we can get from big business. It's what we can hopefully get where we all stand shoulder to shoulder, the promoters, the board, and all of the boxing fans throughout this country will make British boxing a world leader. And that's what we should be, because we've got the right people to be doing the jobs. We've identified the eastern area of England as maybe the place where we open our first home. We've even looked at parts of Wales where property is very reasonable. So it may be we look in time to have 2 homes running, because we've certainly got the numbers. But one home we will start, like the acorns, giant oak trees grow. So we're starting small, but the 36-bedded unit, we want to be a state-of-the-art building. And we can do it. And we will do it, because we won't stop until we achieve our aim. We've got a song that's been written that's coming out this Christmas called Never Give Up, Never Give In by the Legends. That is all the star boxers. I should have had the list in front of me, all the singers, but they are the who's who of boxing, some of the biggest names in boxing, and they're singing. We were going to have our launch night to coincide with the record coming out in November, but sadly, because of COVID-19, we're not in that position to do it. But the record is still coming out. It was written by Simon Block, who was the former General Secretary of the Border Control. It's a great record. Never give up, never give in. And when you hear it, it's catchy. And hopefully, who knows, if the boxing world get behind it, it might even be a Christmas #1. At least we're shooting for the stars. If we miss, we're still going to land on the moon, Rob. So that's where we're at the moment.
Well, first off, I know that you know this already because we've had several conversations around this, but I just want to let you know that anything that you need from me and Boxing Social, you've got my phone number. All you have to do is give me a call. For our viewers who are watching this, if you look down in the description and in the pinned comments, you will find Ringside Charitable Trust website information and a link to donate. Please, 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 if you're watching this, seriously have a look at this, because this is something that has been needed in the sport for a number of years. There it is. They've held it up loud and proud. The Ringside Charitable Trust boxing family. This is a dangerous sport, as everybody knows. That's great, Dave. Thank you. This is a dangerous sport, as everybody knows, and this is something that has been long overdue. If you're watching this and you're an avid fan of the sport, you've all seen the pictures, you've all seen the images of these great champions who after their boxing career don't have much of a life. And I think it's time that as a sport we had a look at that and change things. So, Dave, I just want to thank you for your time today. I think you were very thorough. I think every bit of information that we need is on there, but we will do this regularly. So anything that you have missed out and any names on your list that you missed out, I'm sure you can remember for next time and we'll get it.
I'll have them ready, Rob. And can I just say thanks to Boxing Social, you've done us proud, and let's hope the boxing world get behind us and do our boxers proud. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely. Dave Harris, absolute gentleman. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Again, just before I go, Ringside Charitable Trust, if you're watching this, please, please, please have a look at this wonderful initiative. It's something that we desperately needed in the sport for a number of years, and we're finally going to get there.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.